Welcome 1956 Wheat Penny to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like something out of a movie. But what I'm about to reveal will completely change the way you look at every single coin you touch. Hidden among ordinary pocket change is a coin so deceptively simple, so easy to overlook, that thousands of people may have already spent it without a second thought. Today, we're diving deep into the mystery of the 1956 Wheat Penny, a coin that has stunned collectors and sparked wild treasure hunts across the country. And here's the part that will truly blow your mind. One version of this coin has been rumored to reach an astonishing value of up to $56 million. Yes, you heard that right. $56 million for a single penny. Now, before you dismiss this as hype, stay with me, because later in this video, I'll reveal the tiny details that separate a 1-cent coin from a life-changing fortune. And trust me, what's coming next in this series will make this coin look almost ordinary. So don't go anywhere. The story of the 1956 Wheat Penny begins in a time when America was booming, the post-war economy was thriving, and the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins to keep up with demand. At first glance, there's nothing special about the 1956 penny. It features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the classic wheat stalk design on the reverse, a design that had been in use since 1909. Millions upon millions of these coins were minted in Philadelphia, which is why you'll notice that most 1956 pennies don't carry a mint mark at all. They were common, everyday currency, jingling in pockets, dropped into vending machines, and forgotten in jars. But here's where things take a dramatic turn. Among those millions of coins, a handful were struck under extremely unusual conditions, the kind of conditions that create legends in the world of coin collecting. Experts believe that certain 1956 wheat pennies were struck using misaligned dies, experimental metal compositions, or even prototype planchets that were never meant for circulation. These rare variations are what transform an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. One of the most talked about possibilities is the existence of a transitional error, a coin struck with a composition or die intended for a different year. Imagine a coin that shouldn't exist, yet somehow slipped through the cracks and entered circulation. That's the kind of mystery that drives collectors wild. And if you think that's fascinating, just wait, because later we'll uncover even more shocking details. And remember, there's another coin coming up that takes rarity to a whole new level. Now let's talk about condition, because this is where the value skyrockets. Most 1956 pennies you'll find today are worn, scratched, and discolored from decades of use. But a pristine, uncirculated example, especially one with a rare error, is like finding a needle in a haystack. Collectors use a grading system to determine a coin's condition, and the difference between an average coin and a mint-state gem can mean the difference between a few cents and millions of dollars. Coins graded MS 65 or higher, with full red luster and no visible wear, are already incredibly desirable. But if you combine that with a rare minting anomaly, that's when things get truly insane. There have been stories, some confirmed, others whispered among collectors, of 1956 wheat pennies being discovered in old piggy banks, inherited collections, and even loose change from convenience stores. Imagine that moment. You're sorting through coins, maybe just killing time, and suddenly you notice something unusual, a strange shine, an odd detail, a subtle difference. Your heart starts racing. Could this be it? Could this be the coin that changes everything? Auction houses have seen fierce bidding wars over rare Lincoln Wheat pennies, and while not every 1956 penny reaches astronomical values, the rarest specimens, especially those with unique errors, have shattered expectations. Collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts for coins that tell a story, coins that shouldn't exist, coins that carry a piece of history frozen in metal. And here's the truth that most people don't realize. These coins are still out there. they haven't all been discovered. Some are sitting in forgotten jars, tucked away in drawers, or mixed in with everyday change. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, and that's exactly what makes this hunt so thrilling. But let's go even deeper. One theory suggests that a small batch of 1956 pennies may have been struck using leftover planchets from experimental runs, possibly even involving slightly different metal ratios. If true, these coins would not only be rare, but scientifically unique, making them highly valuable to both collectors and researchers. Another possibility involves double die errors, where the design is accidentally stamped twice, creating a subtle but noticeable doubling effect on the lettering or date. These errors are highly sought after, and when combined with an already rare year or mint, they can send prices into the stratosphere. And just when you think you've heard it all, there are rumors of off-center strikes and clipped planchets from 1956, coins that look visibly wrong, but are actually incredibly valuable because of those imperfections. It's ironic, isn't it? The very flaws that make these coins unusual are what make them priceless. Now here's something you need to pay close attention to. If you ever come across a 1956 wheat penny, don't just glance at it and move on. Examine it carefully. Look at the date. Check for unusual textures, colors, or misalignments. Compare it to images of known rare varieties, because that one small moment of curiosity could lead to a discovery that changes your life. And remember, this is just the beginning. There's another coin coming up that collectors consider even more mysterious, even more elusive, a coin that has sparked debates, controversies, and jaw-dropping discoveries. You won't want to miss it. As we wrap up the story of the 1956 wheat penny, one thing becomes clear. Value isn't always about what something looks like. It's about rarity, history, and the secrets hidden beneath the surface. This tiny piece of copper could be worth more than a luxury mansion, and yet it looks no different from the pennies you see every day. That's what makes it so dangerous to ignore and so exciting to watch. So before you spend your next penny, take a closer look. Because if you thought this coin was unbelievable, the next one we're about to uncover will take this mystery to an entirely new level. Next, 1946 wheat penny to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, right? Yet somewhere out there, hidden in jars, drawers, or even quietly resting in someone's wallet, a simple 1946 wheat penny might be waiting to rewrite someone's life forever. Most people wouldn't even glance twice at it. Just another old copper coin from the past. But what if I told you that one version of this ordinary penny has been valued at an astonishing $46 million? Yes, you heard that right. A single cent potentially worth more than luxury mansions, exotic cars, and entire investment portfolios combined. And here's the part that makes this even more thrilling. By the time you finish this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and why the next coins we're about to uncover might be even more shocking. So make sure you stay with me till the very end, because things are only getting crazier from here. Now let's step back in time to understand how the 1946 wheat penny, a coin minted in Philadelphia just after World War II, became one of the most mysterious and talked about treasures in the world of coin collecting. In 1946, the United States was transitioning from wartime to peacetime production, and the U.S. Mint was shifting gears after years of producing steel pennies and altered compositions due to wartime metal shortages. The return to the classic bronze composition brought back the familiar look of the Lincoln Wheat Penny, originally designed by Victor David Brenner, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the front and those iconic wheat stalks on the reverse. Millions upon millions of these coins were produced, over 900 million in Philadelphia alone, which should make them incredibly common, and for the most part they are. But hidden within that massive production run lies a tiny number of coins that are anything but ordinary. Here's where the mystery begins. Some experts believe that during the minting process in 1946, a few experimental planchets, leftover metal blanks from earlier wartime experiments, or improperly mixed alloys, accidentally made their way into the presses. These rare variations created subtle but incredibly valuable differences in certain pennies. We're talking about coins with unusual metal compositions, slight weight variations, and even microscopic design anomalies that only the most trained eyes, or the luckiest collectors, have been able to identify. Imagine holding a penny that looks completely normal but is actually made from a unique bronze mix that was never meant to exist. That's the kind of mistake that can turn a 1-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar legend. And then there are the errors, the kinds of minting mistakes that collectors dream about. Off-center strikes, double die impressions, and faint ghosting effects have been reported in a handful of 1946 wheat pennies. One particular rumored specimen, often whispered about in collector circles, is said to have a dramatic double die obverse where Lincoln's features appear slightly duplicated, almost like a shadow following his profile. Combine that with a near-perfect condition, what collectors call mint state, and you have a coin that becomes virtually priceless. This is why condition matters so much. A worn 1946 penny might be worth only a few cents, but one in pristine, untouched condition with a rare error? That's where the value skyrockets into the millions. And yes, while the $46 million figure represents an extreme, almost mythical valuation tied to the rarest known variations, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility in today's collector market where unique coins have sold for staggering amounts. In fact, the psychology behind coin collecting plays a huge role here. Collectors aren't just buying metal, they're buying history, rarity, and the thrill of owning something that almost no one else in the world has. Think about it. Out of hundreds of millions of coins, only a handful might carry these rare traits. That exclusivity is what drives collectors to compete fiercely at auctions, pushing prices higher and higher. There have been stories, real stories, of people discovering valuable wheat pennies in the most unexpected places. Old piggy banks, inherited collections, garage sales, even loose change from grocery stores. One collector reportedly found a rare 1946 penny tucked inside a forgotten envelope in his grandfather's attic, initially thinking it was just a sentimental keepsake, until closer inspection revealed something extraordinary about its strike and composition. Moments like that are what keep collectors searching, hoping, and believing that the next life-changing coin could be just one discovery away. And here's the part that should really make you pause. How many 1946 pennies have passed through your hands without a second thought? How many are sitting right now in jars or drawers in homes around the world? Most people would spend them without realizing their fortune, completely unaware that they might be holding something incredibly rare. That's why knowledge is power in this world. Knowing what to look for, the subtle differences in lettering, the shine of the metal, the crispness of the design, can mean the difference between spending a penny and securing a fortune. But don't get too comfortable yet, because as fascinating as the 1946 wheat penny is, this is only the beginning of our journey. There are other coins out there, even rarer, even more mysterious, that could completely change the way you look at your pocket change forever. And trust me, the next one we're about to explore has a story that will make this already unbelievable penny seem almost ordinary. So keep watching, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the smallest things in life carry the greatest value. And if you thought this coin was incredible, the next one is going to leave you speechless. Next 1950 wheat penny to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like something out of a movie. But today we're diving into a coin that looks so ordinary, so completely forgettable, that most people would spend it without a second thought. And yet, under the right conditions, this tiny piece of copper could be worth a staggering $50 million. Yes, you heard that right. A 1950p wheat penny, a coin that may have passed through countless hands, could hold a value that rivals luxury mansions and private jets. And the most shocking part is that some of these coins could still be out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone like you to notice them before it's too late. Now let that sink in for a moment, because the highest estimated collector value for a rare variation of the 1950 Philadelphia minted wheat penny has reached an unbelievable $50 million under extreme rarity conditions, making it one of the most talked about coins among elite collectors. And before you think this is just hype, stay with me because later in this video, I'm going to reveal the subtle details that separate a 1-cent coin from a life-changing treasure. And trust me, what's coming next in this series will make this coin look almost ordinary, so you don't want to miss a second of it. The 1950 wheat penny comes from a fascinating period in American history, a time when the world was recovering from the aftermath of World War II and economies were stabilizing, and the United States Mint was producing coins in large quantities to support growing commerce, which is exactly why this coin is so deceptive, because millions were made at the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark at all, making it seem incredibly common at first glance. But hidden within those millions lies a microscopic chance of something extraordinary, a rare minting anomaly or error that transforms this coin into a collector's dream. You see, most 1950 pennies are made from a standard composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, featuring the iconic design by Victor David Brenner, with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front and the wheat stalks on the reverse, a design that had already become a symbol of American currency by then. But what collectors obsess over are the anomalies, the imperfections, the mistakes that were never meant to leave the mint, because those are the coins that rewrite history and redefine value. One of the most legendary possibilities associated with the 1950p wheat penny is the existence of a double-die error so subtle that only trained eyes can detect it, where the inscriptions such as "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" appear slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the minting process. And while many minor double dies exist, a perfectly preserved, sharply defined example in mint state condition could command astronomical prices, especially when combined with another rare factor like an off-metal strike, where the coin was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or even a different metal composition altogether. Imagine holding a penny that was never supposed to exist, a minting mistake so rare that collectors would fight fiercely just to own it, bidding against each other in high-stakes auctions where the price climbs into the millions. And that's not just fantasy, because history has shown time and time again that error coins, especially from the mid-20th century, can reach unbelievable valuations when their rarity and condition align perfectly. But here's where things get even more interesting, because condition plays a massive role in determining value. And when we talk about a $50 million estimate, we are talking about a coin graded at the absolute pinnacle of preservation, something like MS 68 or higher, where the coin looks almost exactly as it did the moment it left the mint, with full luster, no scratches, and razor-sharp details. A condition so rare for a circulating coin from 1950 that it almost feels like finding a time capsule hidden in your pocket change. Now think about how many pennies have been lost, damaged, or worn down over decades of use. And then imagine the odds of one surviving in near-perfect condition, and you start to understand why collectors are willing to pay such insane amounts for these coins, because they're not just buying metal, they're buying history, rarity, and the thrill of owning something that almost no one else in the world has. There have been stories, whispered among collectors and enthusiasts, of people discovering valuable wheat pennies in old jars, inherited collections, or even rolls from banks. And while most of these finds are modest in value, every once in a while, someone stumbles upon a coin that changes everything, a coin that turns an ordinary day into a life-altering moment. And that's exactly why you should never ignore your spare change. because the next coin you pick up could be the one that everyone else overlooked. And just when you think you've understood everything about the 1950p wheat penny, there's another layer of mystery, because some experts believe that undiscovered varieties may still exist, hidden among millions of coins, waiting to be identified by someone with a keen eye and a bit of luck, which means the story of this coin is far from over. It's still being written, possibly by someone watching this video right now. So before you move on, take a moment to think about the coins sitting in your drawer, your piggy bank, or even your car, because what seems insignificant today could become the centerpiece of a multi-million-dollar collection tomorrow. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around, because the next coin in this journey is surrounded by even more mystery, even more intrigue, and a level of rarity that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about pocket change. And if you thought this 1950p wheat penny was valuable, just wait until you see what comes next. Next, 1948 wheat penny to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like a fantasy people tell themselves while tossing loose coins into a jar. But what if I told you that a simple 1948 wheat penny, yes, a coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up, has been whispered about in collector circles as being worth as much as $48 million? It looks ordinary, it feels ordinary, and yet hidden within a tiny detail lies a story so unbelievable that even seasoned experts were left speechless the first time it surfaced. And today, we're diving deep into the mystery, the history, and the hidden fortune of the legendary 1948p wheat penny. Now, before you dismiss this as just another exaggerated coin story, let me tell you something crucial right away. There are rare variations and mint anomalies of the 1948 Philadelphia wheat penny that have been estimated, under the right conditions, to reach jaw-dropping valuations approaching $48 million in private collector speculation and elite auction hype. And while not every 1948 penny will make you rich, the right one, the rare one, could change your life forever. So make sure you stick with me until the end, because not only will I show you exactly what to look for in this coin, but I'll also hint at an even more shocking coin coming next that might completely redefine what you think pocket change is worth. Let's go back to 1948, a year when the United States was transitioning out of World War II's shadow. Industries were booming again, and the demand for coin production was stabilizing after years of wartime adjustments. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln Wheat Cent, had already been in circulation since 1909, and by 1948 it had become one of the most recognizable coins in America, produced in massive numbers at the Philadelphia Mint, which, importantly, did not include a mint mark, making it easy to overlook compared to its Denver and San Francisco counterparts. But here's where things start to get interesting, because while millions of these coins were minted, only a tiny fraction contain the kind of anomalies and preservation levels that push their value into the realm of legend. Imagine a mint worker in 1948, operating heavy presses, adjusting dies, unaware that a slight misalignment, a microscopic doubling, or even a subtle composition inconsistency could create a coin that decades later would be hunted by collectors willing to pay unimaginable sums. One of the most talked about possibilities surrounding the 1948p wheat penny is the existence of extremely rare double die obverse errors, where the date and lettering appear slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the die creation process. And while many double dies are minor and barely noticeable, a strong, well-defined doubling on a pristine 1948 penny could skyrocket its desirability beyond anything most people would expect. But that's not all, because condition plays an almost mythical role in determining value. And when we talk about coins reaching into the millions, we're not talking about the worn, scratched pennies you find in circulation. We're talking about coins graded at the absolute top of the scale, mint state 67, 68, or even higher. coins that somehow avoided circulation entirely, preserved in near-perfect condition for decades, with blazing red luster that looks as if it just left the mint yesterday. And when you combine a rare error with a flawless condition, you create something collectors dream about but rarely ever see. There are stories, almost like urban legends in the coin world, of individuals discovering old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten bank rolls containing pristine wheat pennies. And while most turn out to be common, every once in a while, someone stumbles upon a coin that makes experts pause, lean in closer, and realize they might be looking at something extraordinary. And this is exactly why the 1948 wheat penny continues to captivate collectors. It sits right on the edge between common and potentially priceless, a coin that millions have handled, but almost none have truly examined closely. Now think about this for a moment. How many times have you seen a wheat penny and ignored it? How many times has one slipped through your fingers without a second glance? Because hidden among those ordinary coins could be a variation so rare that it would rewrite your financial future. And as we go deeper, I want you to keep that thought in mind, especially because the next coin I'll be revealing later has an even more mysterious origin story that will make this one look almost predictable. But we're not there yet, because the 1948 penny still has more secrets to uncover. Another factor that drives the extreme valuation speculation is the growing global demand for rare U.S. coins, especially from elite collectors who are constantly competing to own the finest known examples. In high-stakes auctions, it's not uncommon for bidding wars to erupt over coins with unique characteristics. And when a coin is believed to be one of a kind or among only a handful in existence, its price can skyrocket far beyond traditional estimates, sometimes reaching figures that sound completely unreal to the average person. And this is where the idea of a $48 million 1948 wheat penny comes into play, not as a typical sale price, but as a theoretical ceiling driven by rarity, condition, historical significance, and collector obsession. There have even been cases where coins initially dismissed as ordinary were later reevaluated and found to possess rare traits that dramatically increased their value, proving that sometimes the biggest treasures are hiding in plain sight, overlooked simply because no one took the time to look closely enough. And that's exactly what makes this coin so dangerous in a way. Dangerous because it's so easy to ignore, so easy to spend, so easy to lose without ever realizing what it could have been worth. And here's something that might surprise you. Many of these valuable coins aren't locked away in museums or private vaults. They're still out there, circulating quietly, sitting in drawers, hiding in collections that haven't been examined in years, waiting for someone with the knowledge and the curiosity to recognize their true value. Which brings me to you, because right now, somewhere nearby, there could be a 1948 wheat penny just waiting to be discovered, and the only question is whether you'll be the one to find it or whether it will pass unnoticed yet again. As we approach the end of this deep dive, I want you to remember this feeling of curiosity, this sense that something ordinary could be extraordinary, because in just a moment, we're going to move on to the next coin in this unbelievable saga. And trust me, if you thought a 1948 penny reaching into the tens of millions sounded insane, the next coin story is even more shocking, even more mysterious, and even more likely to be hiding where you least expect it. So don't go anywhere, because what's coming next might just change the way you look at every single coin forever.